What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Convincing Idiots. This is episode 305. Keeping it with Spider-Man. For our final segment, we're going to be discussing our favorite Spidey villains of all time and which five, after we hash it out, deserve a prominent spot in the Convincing Idiots Mount Rushmore of Spidey villains. So, without further ado, don't let me hold you up. Let's start the show.
Enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test.
Test.
5, 4, 3.
What's up, webheads? Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. This is episode 305. I'm Millennial Nick, alongside Gen X Brian and the Zennial Dean. This week, as we were discussing earlier in the episode, Spider-Man Brand New Day is crushing at the box office. We've all seen it. We all love it. And we thought, there's some great villains throughout Spider-Man movies and comics. I would argue, honestly, that Spider-Man is amongst, I think he potentially, arguably, has one of the best Rolodexes of supervillains throughout
100%.
his time as a character. So we thought, why not debate over which five deserve to be on our Convincing Idiots Mount Rushmore of all-time Spidey villains. So we're each going to bring our three submissions. We might have some overlap. We might not. We will discuss. We'll hammer it out, and we'll find out which five, deserve a spot, a coveted spot on the Convincing Idiots Mount Rushmore of all-time Spider-Man supervillains. Brian, you are probably the longest running Spider-Man fan, as you've been alive the longest for Spider-Man. So why don't you start out by giving us your three?
Absolutely. Yeah, I collected Spider-Man comics back in 5th grade range, something like that. So many a year ago. That's
nice.
That's in the late 70s there. But what are you saying?
19?
Yes, 1970, believe it or not. Yeah, so three of my all-time favorites. Great villains. On my shirt, the Green Goblin.
Very good.
Dr. Octopus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you the Lizard.
It's a good one. Very good. All right. Are you still writing some down? Do you want me to go?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so my three submissions. I also have Doc Ock. So we overlap there. No surprise here coming from me. I have Venom as well. And my third submission, Mysterio.
Good.
Dean.
All right. I have, in no particular order, I have Rhino, I have the Vulture, and I have Kingpin.
Awesome.
Okay.
Surprising none of you picked Kingpin. All right. But
Kingpin was
I'd overlapped on that
close.
one.
If we did it the old way with 5, Kingpin is definitely on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
Gen X Brian here from the Convincing Idiots podcast. If you're enjoying our show, tell a friend. And if you're not, well, tell 2 enemies.
Yep. So, all right. Well, let's start with the overlap here. Doc Ock, and I'll just start off by saying my piece here. To me, Spider-Man is unique in the fact that, in my opinion, and correct, or I guess you're from a different era of Spider-Man fandom, Brian, but growing up, I felt like Spider-Man had two main, Batman, Joker, Superman, Lex Luthor, right? Everybody kind of has their main bad guy for the most part that stands out. For Spider-Man, I always felt like it was Green Goblin and Doc Ock.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Certainly, the thing that I liked about Doc, and I would honestly say through my time of consuming Spider-Man through comics and like animated series and things like that, Dr. Octopus as a kid in the 90s, I think was more prevalent, I think, in a lot of like media. So it wasn't until I think the original Spider-Man movie came out that I personally started taking more notice as Green Goblin as a big villain to Spider-Man. But Dr. Octopus was always kind of the main one for me in my head. And so I think he's a super classic Spider-Man villain. And what I really like about Dr. Otto Octavius is I like just like any great superhero, every villain is a hero in his own mind, right? So like he's a brilliant. I like the way he correlates to Peter Parker. The fact that like he is essentially his mentor, like he is a mentor of his. He's a brilliant scientist. He recognizes Peter's brilliance, and as time goes on, their paths lead them down different. Well, they go down different paths, I should say. Definitely a unique villain. The mechanical arms. I don't liken him to many other super villains. And I think he was kind of original. Growing up, he was never, as far as appearance, he was never like one of the cooler ones to me. The bowl cut, and he was kind of like a stocky guy, with, just floating in the air with his arms. But all that aside, the vibe of him, I guess, aside, great storyline, great character, and very cool the way that that basically these arms fuse to him and things start to go sideways from there. But I just think he is in my mind just a slight edge over Green Goblin as a class to me, like growing up. But like they're both right there. But he is like a very classic Spider-Man villain, and I think the storyline's great. And I think the dynamic of their relationship as regular people versus their alter egos is really interesting, and I love the story.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, it's a tragic villain. He was a good dude, a scientist, and like you said, the arms. He was like handling, I think it was radioactive material or something like that from behind a protective area. So he created those arms so he could work safely. So he was trying to help mankind. And like you said, there was an accident that fused them to him and kind of mentally screwed him up, and went from there. But like you said, him personally is not a physically powerful man at all. Just like you say, the intellect and the arms make him super powerful. One of the most interesting looking characters, period, I think, in comics that there ever really is, let alone villains. Like I said, the arms are great. They're strong. They definitely, all the scenes of Spider-Man, weaving in and out of the arms and in comics and in the movies and everything is great. There's been some really interesting storylines with Doc Ock, not just in the movies, and the movies were great. I mean, the Spider-Man 2, we've talked about this with Tobey Maguire.
Easily
One
the
of the
best
best
of the
Spider-Man
original
movies,
three.
period.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina was a great character there. It was great to see him reprise the role later. But there was a scene where, Spider-Man lost his cool. He literally ripped off the arms of Dr. Octopus, and by then he had felt like, to him, they ripped off his real arms. He was in such pain and agony from that. And there was another storyline not too long ago where Dr. Octopus, he was dying, and he figured out a way to take over the mind of Peter Parker. So the body of Dr. Octopus died, and he took over Peter Parker's mind and became the superior Spider-Man. There was a whole storyline here that it launched its own series for a while, where it was Peter Parker's body, but Dr. Octopus's mind, and he got to understand and learn why Peter is who he is, why he became Spider-Man, and he kind of became this sort of weird respect thing. And of course, eventually, Peter Parker got his mind back, and somehow Dr. Octopus got another body. I can't remember how they haven't even worked anymore, but just very interesting. So, like you said, as a kid, you're right, it was those two. And I always enjoyed the storylines with Doc Ock.
Yeah.
So it's got to be on the list, 100%.
Yep.
Very good.
All right. Okay. Dean, give us one of yours.
All right. let me just knock this one out of the way. Pun intended. Rhino. I don't know much. All I know is I really like Paul Giamatti, and he played the Rhino, and that was cool. So that's why I picked Rhino. So I got no other reason because he's a big dumb guy who got infused in this suit and just goes around fucking ramming into things. That's neat. And Paul Giamatti played him, so that's my argument for Rhino.
What was he? Hold on. Paul Giamatti. Which was he in? What?
Yeah, I think he was in the
was it the amazing the
Andrew Garfield
Amazing Spider-Man? Okay, I need to go back and rewatch those.
At the very beginning, it was like a cameo type of thing.
Yeah,
it was like he was wearing
a
big metal suit type thing.
I remember him showing up in something. I will also say Rhino is incredibly badass in the Insomniac Spider-Man games in that series.
Okay.
He is phenomenal. And those, once again, even if you're not a huge gamer, if you have a PS4 or PS5, those games are so good. Not only are they fun and easy to play, there's different skill levels. You can play them as a novice and just take in the story for what it is. But they are some of the most well-written games. They could make movies on those games. They are so good. The storylines they do an incredible job of taking characters and creating new interesting storylines with them. They're fantastic. But Rhino in those games is just a fucking powerhouse, and he's super cool. But I do remember seeing a cinematic Rhino, and I'm like, I just don't remember it being Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti.
So I need to go back, and I do need to rewatch the Andrew Garfield ones. I've probably only seen each one of them once.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him again just to go back and compare. Like, I do remember at the time watching them and being like, these ones are not my favorite. But I would like to see them again because I love Andrew Garfield. I think he's incredible, and I like him as Spider-Man. It's almost like the Ben Affleck effect. Like, I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I just don't like the films he was in as it. So I'd like to rewatch. But Rhino is a cool character, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He always had a cool look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was a simple character. What is it? The guy's he's stuck in a Rhino suit. Okay.
I like when they made him more of a cyborg, like a a machine,
right? Like
than in like a singlet,
fused with it.
The little horn, like comic book classic Rhino with the singlet as a buff dude with the. It's a little, he looks more like Rhino from ECW and less like a super villain, but but still great character, yeah, for sure.
Yep. How does he go to the bathroom? Don't ask. Do not ask.
Just runs down the middle foot.
Yeah.
Yep. You get opens up one of the toes.
It's fine.
Puts up one of the toes.
Other than the face hole, there doesn't appear to be any openings in that thing.
No.
Nope. That's a tough one. That's why he's angry.
It is. Yeah.
Right. You have to sit in your own shit for years and see how angry you get.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
All right. Who's that? Who wants to go next?
Or Nick.
I'll give you. Yeah. You go ahead. You want?
No, go ahead.
You want a specific one?
Well, save Venom for last. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So I'll go with Mysterio. I always liked Mysterio. I always thought the visual of him was cool, and through the comics, he has many different. Mysterio is a character that lives beyond one singular person who is Mysterio. Originally in the comics, Mysterio is Quentin Beck, I believe it is, and he is he's a failed or not failed, but he was actually a pretty successful, I think, master of illusions and kind of like a magician and things like that. And he essentially, with not getting the credit that he feels he is due, he turns to staging things to where he is made out to be a good guy, and then it kind of, he pits himself against Spider-Man. And Mysterio, first of all, the physical look of Mysterio I have always loved. I love the globe head with the smoke. You see no head, no face. It's just this ominous, mysterious orb, and he had like these cubes or like different pyramid, different weird things on his shoulders holding his cape up, and he just had a cool look to him. He was very mysterious.
Eyes on it as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Just very cool. And the fact that the cool thing about him is that he is a regular guy. Like, he almost would fit in like a Batman universe where he has no superpowers. He just uses the skills that he does have to necessarily not through brute strength to combat Spider-Man, but to confuse and mess with his head. And that's really, it's a mind game with Mysterio, which I think is really cool that he's a calculating character. And I think that is another cool thing about Spider-Man, the character, is the fact that he is such a genius that he brings out this craftiness in the villains. Like if you're gonna face Spider-Man, you got to have something. You either have to go, you know, stroke for stroke with his genius, or you have to try to outmuscle him, which is also near impossible to do. But I like that Mysterio is kind of a different type of character. Like his battle scenes are not going to be as much of the combat and more so just the messing with your head kind of thing. So I always liked Mysterio, and like I said, the visual of Mysterio always really struck me as a kid. So it actually, as much as we've all praised the Tom Holland movies, I would say the one Far From Home was probably my least favorite. It wasn't not that it wasn't good. I don't think it was up to the standard of some of the other ones. And I was a little disappointed because I was super excited. That was the first time Mysterio has ever been portrayed in anything live action, which no discredit to Jake Gyllenhaal, but I thought just the story, everything could have gone a little smoother. They could have done some things better, but I love the character all the same. I think Mysterio's really cool and an all-timer for me.
Okay.
That's
Brian?
good. I will go with the Lizard. Another character, again, another tragic character. If you don't know the story, Dr. Kirk Connors is a mentor of Peter Parker. Dr. Connors lost an arm. It was some type of an accident or something like that. So he tries to make a cure for himself because lizards can regrow their appendages, regrow like a tail or something like that. So he thought he could develop something for a human to regrow an appendage it's been removed or what have you, and uses like lizard DNA or whatever it was.
What are your appendages just syphilitic? Can you regrow
a non-syphilitic one?
Yeah, or make it longer.
A non-syphilis ridden one,
perhaps. Yeah, longer perhaps.
Syphilitic. The word of the day is syphilitic.
All right. I think I learned it on the electric company back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yeah. But he uses lizard DNA, and of course, it has a negative effect on him, and he literally turns into like a man lizard and doesn't remember what's going on. But the lizard's another one. The very first Spider-Man comic that I can ever remember buying as a kid, on the cover of that was Spider-Man fighting the lizard, and I'm like, ooh, you kind of knew who Spider-Man was as a kid, but then you saw the lizard. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting this comic, and it was just awesome. The classic lizard to me is exactly how the comics, because it's Dr. Connors wearing his lab coat, turns into the lizard. So the lizard always had like a lab coat with like a torn pants or something like that, because he would grow and become the lizard.
Pants vibe with a lab coat. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's again, it was like not a shower.
That's right. But the lizard is super strength. Yeah, and he uses his tail as a weapon. I can't remember if he could also control other lizards and other reptiles and things. I can't remember that part.
I know they did that in the movie.
Okay.
They did that in the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. I do remember that. That was part of the thing. They were trying to take over the city with lizards and doing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But anyway, just a very cool looking character and a very formidable villain of Spider-Man. Definitely more of a classic one. I don't know that it was as popular in the comics, at least as time went on here, but but definitely in his time, very, very popular, very, very cool. You can't see it now, but off screen here, I have figures up here on this shelf, and one of them is the Kurt Connors lizard. One of my favorite figures that I collected from back in the day. Yeah, that figure I gave you, Nick, of Venom.
Yeah, I got him right here.
It's the same group of figures, but the lizard up here. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, they're kind of like rubbery. They're like one piece. They don't have joints, but they're kind of rubbery, and yeah.
So Anyway, Lizard's very cool. I don't know if he's going to make the final list, but
I
definitely one of
remember.
my
Yeah,
favorite villains.
I got
Yeah,
the.
that's it.
Yeah, kind of. It's almost that old school, like the big jumbo wrestling guys that were like rubbery and kind of bendable. They're kind of like that.
Yep.
But I remember, yeah, as a kid, the Lizard was one that always was striking to me too. He's just really cool, and the tongue and the big jaw. I remember like I was like the Lizard to me was like a cooler version of Killer Croc from Batman.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I don't know, just something really menacing and cool about the Lizard, and I always liked that character. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Nice. All right, Dean, what's your next one?
All right, I'm going the Vulture.
Mhm. Because he's old also.
Well, he's an older gentleman.
He is an older gentleman.
Older gentleman who has just a cool ass suit. Again, I don't know a lot. If we've determined already, I'm not. I didn't follow Spider-Man as much as I did other comics, so I'm not exactly
did Paul
familiar.
Giamatti play the Vulture at some point?
No, but Michael Keaton did,
actually
and that's
played
why
it.
I
Yes.
remember.
And was fantastic in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
The evil, like I when I think of villains, I'm thinking the movies, right? And
Yeah.
like just the hidden evilness behind Michael Keaton's eyes, especially in that car ride.
Mm-hmm.
When he kind of can tell, kind of figures out who Peter is. Just he's so fucking awesome. And now, I mean, I don't know if the character or the actor is good enough, but they put him in different universes. They warped him or whatever to different universes. So he's now in the Sony universe now. Right, I think that he was in. Was he in Venom or
Vulture?
He was in like
so that he was in Homecoming. He was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Correct.
And
but he was in another movie, a different
scene,
like when he was Spider-Man.
There was a scene, I think, with
was
him
it when
at the end of something before Homecoming, was there not? The leading into Homecoming.
Yes, that was kind of with the Scorpion fella. But there's a scene where like he is like when they did the when they brought over Doc Ock and the two other Spider-Men over this universe, I guess he got shot over to another one. He's in another movie. I don't. Maybe it's Craven, or maybe the Batgirl, or not Batgirl, the Spider Girl movie, whatever those were, the ones that did horrible.
Madam Web.
Madam Web, something like that. But like he's in that, like he got warped over to that universe.
Okay.
I just can't remember which one.
Honorable mention to the Vulture in the Across the Spider-Verse too. I at the very beginning of Across the Spider-Verse. That was a cool. I mean, I love all the versions of the villains that they've done because they're alternate universe versions of them. And Doc Ock was a woman in Into the Spider-Verse, which was really cool. And the Vulture was really cool. And when that old timey version of the Vulture in Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, he's a good character. He's another classic one. When you think of classic Spider-Man villains, Vulture is definitely one of those that you think of with Green Goblin and Doc Ock for sure.
Yeah, and it made him different, like you said, because he was literally an old man. He was he had the appearance of like a 70-year-old man that just had that suit, had that suit that he had made that allowed him to fly like that and took on a life of crime and everything. But he was definitely a
it really
villain.
Spoke to me. That character really spoke to me.
I like the idea of flying while sucking on a Werther's original. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I can get behind this.
I really aspire to something now, Nick. Really see myself doing something with my life after seeing the Vulture. So
I like
the Vulture.
Yep,
I like it.
All his crimes, it was always in the afternoon.
It was very tired. Nothing past 4 p.m. Never. No crime after 4 p.m.
Nope. No crime after 4 p.m. You got to get back. You got to get
around. You better keep your head on a swivel because you don't know what's about to fucking happen.
That's right. Yep. Got to get home, get some dinner. You got to watch The Wheel. You know what I'm saying? You got to wrap it up.
Spider-Man's bringing him in. They
Mhm.
better have Matlock in the goddamn prison.
All right. Who's next? Nick?
Why don't you? Well, it's up to, yeah. We got Green Goblin and Venom. We got the
You can go. You
T-shirt
go
twins. Here
last.
we go.
You can go last. I'll
Okay.
do Green Goblin. Green Goblin is
Okay.
certainly one of the most iconic Spider-Man villains.
Yeah.
Period. Sort of the answer to the Joker and the Batman. It was the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. Again, another interesting storyline. The cool thing for a while, you did not know who Green Goblin was back in the day. I mean, he started out in the '60s, and they did not reveal for a long time. It turned out to be, the father, Norman Osborn, of Peter Parker's best friend, Harry Osborn. It's just like they did it in the movies, which was like a huge reveal, in its time. So,
Now, my question to that, I did not know
mhm.
that. So I didn't know it would take so long that that was a mystery to people. So that's a big
Yeah.
I'm your father reveal kind of thing. Do you know, was that always the plan from the outset when creating the character, that that's who he would be, or as they developed the comics were they like, ooh, what would be cool is if we made him, somebody that was prominent in Peter's life or in society, or like did they always know it was going to be Norman Osborn, the creator of Oscorp, the head of Oscorp? Did they know that from the get-go?
That's a good question. I don't know that they did, but you have to imagine that they probably had that a thought, because the way they
Yeah, I
built
mean,
it up.
they have this. They also probably storyboard a lot of that out. You know what I mean? When creating these characters, because even back then they made like, the Bible, so to speak, for these universes. So maybe they had them in there.
They had
Yeah.
scenes where the Green Goblin was getting dressed. It has like a mirror, so they were blocking his face, and it was a man in a suit wearing a business suit. So they give you snippets. And somebody just going back and rereading some of the old comics, you can pick up on that stuff. So clearly they had an idea of what they were doing. That was really cool. Then of course later on in the storyline, he was killed. I mean, Spider-Man killed the original Green Goblin in battle, and then Harry Osborn, just kind of like the movie, discovered that Peter was Spider-Man and kind of lost his mind, and he became the new Green Goblin in the comics for some time. So just again, a very intriguing character. Always had a great look. I mean, again, the crazy laugh and everything, like kind of like the Joker. The bat glider was always a cool look. Sitting on top of the bat, the exploding pumpkins and everything.
Yeah.
And he was also smart. The guy was he was also a brilliant guy in his own right. So he built all kinds of technology. So definitely
And under
always
it all, a
Peter
regular
Osborn.
dude, like just a
Yeah,
regular dude, almost
that's right.
like an evil Batman, just with the gadgets and the money and the means to be able to invent these things to wreak havoc. You know what I mean?
Yep.
To battle Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, for years, like you said at the beginning of the episode, Nick, it was pretty much Green Goblin and Doc Ock were the big two heavies
hmm
for a long, long time, until the character you're going to talk about next came along, and it definitely became one of the most popular villains in the Spider-Man lore. So go ahead,
Yep.
Nick, whenever you're ready.
Well, actually,
Go ahead, Dean.
I think I want to go next, only for the fact that I know the poetic waxing that will happen with Venom from
Sure.
Nick, and I want to give him I'd like
Ample
him
time.
to wrap it up in this, right? So
Okay.
let me
Gotcha.
just explain real quick. Kingpin.
Mhm.
Kingpin's a badass. I mean, all
Yes.
of these different bad guys we've talked about tonight. The one that Kingpin is like a real life bad guy. I mean, yes, he's got the super strength, but like he's got like real out every day. Like there are gangsters out there. There are like kingpins of crime out there, and given that he could hold the city, he wasn't just battling Batman. He was, I'm sorry, Spider-Man.
That's
He
a
was.
Freudian slip. He would fit right
was,
into
right?
the Batman universe.
He
You know what I
really
mean?
would,
Of
wouldn't
what
he?
you're describing. Yeah.
He really would.
Mhm.
But he held the city under his thumb, via through crime or when he became mayor or whatnot. And then he was also such a big villain, and why I think he should be on this list. He's such a big villain, physically and in stature, is that he expanded his villainum to other comic book characters. You know what I mean? He wasn't just the bad guy for Batman, or goddamn it, did it again. Just for Spider-Man, the Daredevil and the Punisher. He stretched across all of these, and just the imposing threat. And you guys might be able to answer this. Did they ever explain why or how he had like the extraordinary strength that he had?
Nope.
Okay.
He didn't have super strength. He never had super strength. He was always
just
the way they
super
explained
fucking big.
just a big dude.
Which
That's
is that's the only flaw in the logic is if he doesn't have super strength, Spider-Man does.
Right.
So like, I mean, when we've talked about it, like the fact, like Spider-Man, like looks, he's Spider-Man's a guy that's like my size, right? But he has super speed and super strength, and like he's able to have, he can go strength wise. He's in the comics, he's like almost the equivalent to like the Hulk. He's super, super strong.
Hey, Brian, you hear this guy saying he's got the abs of goddamn Spider-Man now? Jesus Christ, the ego in this motherfucker.
Not after these 3 garage beers. Let me see. We're a little further away now. But no, like, and Kingpin is awesome. Like like you said, what I like about Kingpin is that he is regular and he's realistic. He's much more realistic than a lot of them. Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that he is just
it's not like
a crime lord.
Some serum made me crazy and did all this to me. He's just a evil motherfucker and a badass to boot.
Yeah.
So that's why I when thinking about this, yes, the other two were kind of a fun pick for me, but my true pick, I fucking love the character of Kingpin. So that's my final pick.
I like Kingpin. I think to me, Kingpin is more of a Daredevil villain. He definitely is a Spider-Man villain, not just because of the TV show, but in the comics.
Sure.
They really took that into a whole other layer between Daredevil and Kingpin. It got really pretty dark and everything. Always a cool villain. So when you think about Spider-Man villains, Kingpin is definitely up there. In my head, it was always just a big dude that Peter Parker would fight sometimes. It never really... I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure they did, but I don't remember a lot of storylines where they really took the character and made it more. Again, just took it to deeper layers. It was always just fighting a big man, where in theory Spider-Man should be able to beat the shit out of him.
Right.
But
that's why I assumed he had some sort of super strength.
It seems that way because he punches brick walls and he's strong.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have super strength.
It makes Go ahead, Dean.
I was just saying he's stronger than a mere man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Okay.
I loved his, and it made a little more sense. Like once again in the Spider-Verse movies, into the Spider-Verse, he is the main villain to the Miles Morales. And what's cool about that is Miles Morales at that point is literally figuring it out right now. He literally is a kid and, he's web slinging, he's whatever, but his special trait is he can't always turn it on and off at will. He's kind of figuring that out. And when he's battling Kingpin at the climax of the film, it is really an uphill battle because Miles Morales is like, I don't know, 16. He's like a child,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the fact that, yes, he has some Spider-Man-esque abilities, he's not honed them yet, and he is just a kid, and that was a really great, I think, setting to put Kingpin in as a main villain, like in that specific movie, and it was perfectly done. It was just fantastic.
Okay.
So yeah, he is a great villain, very cool. But yeah, Kingpin is a great character. So
great.
Love him. All right. So All right.
All right, Nick,
For
let's hear about Venom. We
yes.
saved the best for last, I think. Try to explain this without getting any erection. Go.
Yeah, 90 seconds or less. Go ahead.
It's hard. Anytime I talk about any type of symbiote, I
Oh,
get
it's
an
hard.
erection. It's a problem. Yeah, no. So big Venom fan. Throughout all of comics, forget Spider-Man. He is certainly one of my favorite characters of all time. First of all, just starting as a kid, I was super drawn to the character just because of how fucking cool he was. Right? He's this giant hulking alien, creature. And what was really cool about like I love he had the look, but not only the look, but the storyline I found really cool too. Once
Mhm.
again, this is one that this is an alien force, so this is scary in a way that. I like that there are realistic villains in Spider-Man, but what makes Venom terrifying is that he is this alien entity that is initially finds Peter Parker as a host and bonds with him and starts to change the way he thinks, starts to just all his morality and decision making and everything is clouded, and he's not acting like himself, and it's a darker Peter Parker. The black suit Spider-Man is how it begins. And eventually Peter resists that, breaks away from the suit, and then when Venom truly becomes Venom is when he finds his host in Eddie Brock, who is a journalist, photographer, and acquaintance of Peter Parker. And when joined with much, like when he's part of in the black suit Spider-Man, he kind of forms to whatever host. Well, Eddie Brock is a bigger, muscly guy, and then Venom just takes that and just ups it, like, so he's a really cool character, just the teeth, the tongue, the everything, just cool
Mhm.
character. Always loved just the visual of him, but I love the storyline, and I love the way that Peter's able to resist it, but it in turn spawns this incredible character, and the character has been massive. I mean, he was only created his first appearance as Venom, I believe, was in '88 or '89, perhaps. Co-created by Todd McFarlane, and so funny story. I don't know if you guys know this, Brian. You may have heard this. I don't know if Dean, if you're aware of this. Um, Todd McFarlane created the character of Venom because he hated the idea of Spider-Man in a black suit. He was like, Spider-Man, Spidey's in the classic blue, and he's like, we got to get him out of that black suit. We got to think of a way to get him out of this black suit. That's not Spider-Man. So he created this storyline where, basically that's that's how we're going to get away from that, and then he's going to and then he's going to latch onto this other guy, and then we have Venom. Venom was, for me, growing, so as much as we talk about it, it's hard to kind of retroactively go back because obviously we got your Doc Ock and your Green Goblin, but when I was a kid, growing up in the 90s, consuming Spider-Man comics
Mhm.
and animated series and video games and things like that, Venom was really, because he
Oh
was
yeah, that
newer and
was
he was
it.
so cool. Like,
Yep.
Venom was kind of the ultimate nemesis
Yep.
of Spider-Man at that time.
Yep.
And he's really, I think it's a testament to the character and to what was created in that character, both visually and storyline, the fact that he's had that kind of staying power, that to only come along in the late 80s and into the 90s, that recently, for a character that's been around for as long as Spider-Man has, that he is one of the more relevant
Yeah.
villains for Spider-Man, speaks a lot to the character. So I love it.
Yeah.
I like I said, I just think there's a lot of cool things about him, and I like that there's mixed opinions on the character of Venom going on to the Lethal Protector thing, how he kind of becomes this almost a good guy. He's a vigilante and he protects people who are doing wrong. A lot of people don't like that, and for a lot of the purists, I understand that. Like, he was not created to be a good guy. I mean, his face, looks like this. Like, that is not a hero character. So like that he was meant to be a villain. He was meant to be menacing and meant to be horrifying. He's a monster. Um, but I think they've taken the character and kind of played with it in fun ways over time, but nothing beats
Mhm.
the original Venom will always be a villain in my heart and mind to Spider-Man, and is always after Spider-Man, and I just love the character. I've we stumbled out of the gate with the films with the Topher Grace Spider-Man 3. It was a massive disappointment, but I've enjoyed the Venom movies, and I look forward to seeing how maybe they can tie him in future roles. But no doubt he's one of the ultimate Spider-Man villains, and he's one of my, like I said, he's the top comic book character all time for me. So that is certainly why Venom makes my list.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've got them all now.
Yeah,
I believe we do.
I'm with you on Venom. I'll go ahead and second Venom, and while we're at it here, because it's
I mean, I think Venom is a good first. I
for
agree.
sure.
Yeah,
like you said, I in that era, I was still collecting comics pretty regularly, so I got to watch that whole storyline. I mean, I have the storyline, the Secret Wars when he first got the black suit. They really did a nice job building that up. Like you say, over time, it was normal. You just had this weird suit, and then he would sort of form over Peter Parker, and he'd swing around at night, and it's like, what the hell's going on? What the fuck is happening? It was a very slow burn leading up to Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man 300.
Yep.
Is when he turned over, and the artwork.
I have a Spider-Man 300 skate deck on my wall right over there.
Oh man, I know I had that comic in a box over here, but the like you said, the combination of the look and the Todd McFarlane art, that's it right there on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, just fantastic and just very frightening. The whole thing was just a great, like you say, just a great look, great villain. Yeah, they've done the different fun things with the symbiotes with the different versions of it. Like you said, I mean, there was a storyline for a while.
Carnage was the great offspring of that. Where
Carnage was like
Carnage is already his
killing
host is a serial killer in Cletus Cassidy, and now this alien murderous thing bonds with a serial killer who's fucking insane, is in a penitentiary, and Carnage is born, and that's another great offshoot. But
another one, Flash Thompson had a symbiote for a while, and Flash Thompson had lost his legs in the war or something like that, and he became a vigilante. It was there's different fun things with that, but like you said, Venom is definitely an all-time Spider-Man villain. And you can't think of, like you said, there's not many newer villains that I'm sure there are some, but in any of the major heroes you could think about, Batman, and so it's like, what's a newer hero over the past like 20, 30 years, or villain, excuse me, that really made an impact? It's not some of those legacy villains, and he's definitely one that broke through for sure. So yep. All right, I would put him on the list.
Absolutely. So Venom is our number one. I'm going to third, since you guys both went with Doc Ock, give a very compelling case. I'm going to go ahead and agree with Doc Ock for our number two.
Yeah,
there we go. Nice.
Classic. Yep.
And while we're going with honestly, if we've got Doc Ock and we've got a newer classic like Venom, I would like to second Green Goblin. I think that's an easy.
Absolutely.
He's just like I said, he wasn't on my list, but not because he didn't deserve to be. I just had liking. There was other characters I liked, but Green Goblin is. If you're thinking of Spider-Man, you're thinking of Doc Ock, and you're thinking of Green Goblin. Sure. So he absolutely deserves. So that's an easy 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, here's where it gets difficult. So we got some good ones here. We've got Kingpin.
We do.
We've got Vulture, Mysterio, Rhino, and the Lizard. Interesting. So,
the Rhino is a tough one for me. I guess I like the look. I like the character. It just was just a big guy ramming walls and ramming into you. Always had a cool look, but I don't think for me.
I'm a big guy about to ram into you.
Yeah. Get that horn. Buddy. Get that horn out. I don't think he's at the same level. The Rhino's at the same level as some of the other villains that are left here. As far as the other ones that I think on our list are a little bit more iconic, as far as the classic Spider-Man villains.
For ranking them,
my pick was, like I said before, honestly, just because Paul Giamatti played him, and I love Paul Giamatti, so there we are.
I
but
would
I
be
do want to
curious.
argue again. Go ahead.
I'm just curious, and it's not that this has to factor into our decision, but I would be curious as to we all should, in retrospect, we should have written down what years and how long they've been. You know what I mean? When they were
Oh
introduced, that
yeah,
would have been interesting
man.
because I really don't know. I mean, I know Mysterio's been around a long time. I know the
Yeah.
Lizard's been around a long time. I know Vulture's been around longer than longer than both of them. Mysterio and
He goes
Vulture
way
were
back.
both in Sinister Six, right? They were
Yeah.
both part of the
Yes,
Sinister Six.
that's right.
So I know they've been around for a minute.
Yep.
Lizard's a great one though. Lizard's another one that, like, again, when I was growing up, he was a big one in the animated series. He was a really cool one, and they used him a lot in the cartoons and things like
Yeah.
that. So he really had a moment when I was a kid for sure. Like, and I think that was just attributed to how cool he looked, and like you said, just great storyline. Man, that's tough.
Yeah, there's good ones there. I mean,
I am partial to my own of Mysterio, like I said, for all the reasons I outlined, but I don't know that I can give you anything more than what I already did on it. I was just drawn to the
you know what,
character
Nick?
and
Hey,
the
listen,
look, but
listen. I'll give you Mysterio. As a kid, he was always one that I liked also, just because of all the
yeah,
things you talked about there. Because the fact that he didn't have the superpowers and he had to use his special effects and everything like that, and like you said, extremely unique look. Nobody looked like it's a total. It's like, is this really a practical? I mean, wearing a fucking helmet, a globe over your head. I mean, what's the? But like I said, it was just cool because you see, you never saw his face.
yeah,
You never saw. You just sort of always had the outline of a head in there. That, like you said, in the cape and the eyes. I always thought the eyes on
yeah,
the cape holder. Well, so whoever
yeah,
came up with that was
yep,
genius. The gloves with like the spiky things and just
yeah.
very unique
They almost
looking
had like these
character.
kind of, I don't know what you call, they're like geometric, kind of like they were blocky kind of around the
Yeah,
cuffs, and like
yeah.
they fanned out. They were cool. Yeah,
But he was a
yeah,
Sinister Six also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
yes.
It was like Electro, Craven the Hunter, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. Uh, but he was one of those for sure. I think
Yeah.
it was probably the Vulture.
Mysterio and Vulture. Those were the
Yeah,
I give you
Sinister Six. Yeah.
yeah,
Mysterio. So
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Okay.
I
all
agree.
right.
So
All right, Mysterio's number
we're
4.
between Kingpin or I'm sorry, there's Kingpin, Vulture, and the Lizard. Because if we were for Scratch and Rhino.
Now let me offer this to you as well.
Yep.
So we know that the Spider-Man, they had the Sinister Six. So we could consider, if we want to, gentlemen, we could have the idiot Spider-Man Sinister Six, and we can go 6 versus
Oh,
5.
I like that.
How about that?
I like that. Because it's gonna be real hard to okay, if we're expanding to 6, so we're at 4 right now, right? We need 2 more.
Let me go ahead and interject here real quick. I'm going to second the Lizard. From what you guys have argued, and just knowing that how iconic he is, and I'm from comic books, and even into the cinematic universe. Not the MCU, but yeah, I agree. I'm gonna second Lizard for you,
Okay.
Brian.
Okay. I will third Lizard because,
All right.
There we
and
go.
I'll tell you why. If I was picking my last 2 out of those, I would have picked the Lizard, and I was going to go Vulture only because,
Yeah.
and between Vulture and Kingpin, I would have been closer to putting Kingpin on my list. But if we're talking about, and like Brian outlined a little bit, like Kingpin's got some crossover where he may be even as equally or more considered a villain of another character. And Vulture is pretty synonymous with Spider-Man and definitely unique, like the unique factor. And I think Kingpin is an incredible villain in Spider-Man, but Kingpin is reminiscent of other villains, and Vulture is something completely different.
Yes.
So that would be my thinking on that. But I'm open to
No,
hearing different arguments.
I'm with you. The Vulture, like you said, it's one of those all-time classic villains. Yeah, just an interesting character. Like I said, we mentioned already, is an older man, which was unique. But yeah, I can't I can't put Kingpin over the Vulture if you're talking about
Okay.
all time villains. You can't do it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like I said, I actually prefer Kingpin as and as a character, but
Yes,
I
I agree with
think
that.
it is. I agree with exactly what you said. I just think it's not fair to take Kingpin over Vulture for Spider-Man for a
Yep.
Spider-Man villain.
There
Yeah.
we go. All right.
Yep.
So let's recap, boys. Our idiot Sinister Six. We have
Mhm.
Venom, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Mysterio, Lizard, and
Vulture.
Vulture.
Vulture. Here we go. Yeah,
That's the
It's
one.
good.
Who's
Vulture.
your guy? Come on.
No,
I thought like it.
motherfucker, I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't read my handwriting when I wrote it down. I wrote down. I'm like, what does that say?
Yeah.
So
Any
yeah,
honorable
Vulture.
mentions, real quick?
Yeah,
Looks like
real quick.
goddamn Voltron.
I would have had I Kingpin was right there for me. I always liked the Shocker. Not a super popular one.
Yeah,
I like the
You do.
Shocker.
interesting look.
I thought he was cool. Yeah, big fan, big fan. And Craven the Hunter, I think was kind of a cool one
He
too.
almost been my list.
Just different because
Yeah.
of like I said, just out after a new kill, and this Spider-Man is like this,
Mhm.
this unattainable, interesting thing to him. So it was definitely a cool storyline. But like I said, man, it's like I really growing up, Spider-Man and Batman were my two big ones of the main comic book, brands, like characters, and I have a hard time to stick. But Spider-Man, I think, has such an
I
incredible
agree.
selection of villains. Like there's so many good ones, some more prominent, some less, but even the lesser known ones are like really good, heavy hitters, like all the
Yeah.
way around. So good villains in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man and Batman probably are the best overall villains of anybody. Probably. Dean, you have any honorable mentions?
Well, no, because I mean, I tried to go a little more obscure after our conversation through via text. You guys have who I would have ultimately gone with first,
Okay.
with Doc Ock and Green Goblin. So you guys tried to cover the basis, and I tried to go a little more obscure, regardless of how or why. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I had a couple. I had Sandman. Was it the
Sandman's a
character
good one.
Sandman?
Yeah.
Great one. Also, I think he was a Sinister Six, actually. I think about it.
Okay.
I had Venom.
There
Nick.
was a couple iterations of, because I think in one version of comics, Venom was in the Sinister Six, but that was obviously much later on. They've done
later on
different combinations. That's interesting. I don't know which was the original six, but yeah.
I had Venom. Electro was always a great villain too. Another classic Spider-Man.
Yep.
I
Old
had
school,
Kraven
really
the
old
Hunter
school.
as well. I had Kingpin. Tombstone I always thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool looking. All that cool to see
That
a
is one
cameo
thing.
from him.
If you're listening this far in, I'll give you a spoiler alert right now.
Mhm.
Minor. I thought he was going to be a bigger part, certainly, of this movie, of the new movie, Brand New Day. But I was shocked at how, but I'll just leave it at that. But
he's there. They can bring him back.
He is there.
He's in the universe. And another interesting one, Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin was it was a Green Goblin type character, and it was another mystery for a long time. As a guy that stumbled across a Green Goblin hideout, found Green Goblin equipment, changed a mask over, and all of a sudden another guy is like a Green Goblin type character, and it lasted for quite a while. You did not know who the Hobgoblin was. In the comics, they revealed that it was Ned Leeds, who was a great friend of Peter Parker, had become the Hobgoblin and an arch nemesis at the time of Spider-Man.
Yep.
Nick, wasn't that your nickname in high school? No, that was Knobgoblin.
That was Knobgoblin. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're getting mixed up.
Yeah,
mixed up.
Yeah. I don't hear like I used to.
You could also almost put the Black Cat out there as well. Kind of a villain, but always a super intriguing. Of course, she's the answer, Catwoman in the Spider-Man in the Marvel universe there, but always a great looking, intriguing character for sure. Love interest of Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Not really Peter Parker, but Spider-Man off and on. But anyway, all right, good list.
Lots of good ones. We
have done it.
Scorpion.
Spidey
We
sense
didn't
is
talk about
tingling.
Scorpion much. Scorpion was good. Yeah, you can go on and on.
Scorpion's a
There's
great
a lot
one.
of good ones. Scorpion is a
Another
good one.
great one. Yeah, for
They're
sure.
all great.
They're all great in their own right.
That's
My
right.
Spidey sense is tingling, gentlemen. It's telling me that we've come to the end of another episode of
That's right.
Convincing Idiots.
That's right.
It's your
while
alarm
there
actually
might all
telling
be
you
great-
to take your medication.
It could be that too. Yeah, is it supposed to tingle in your head?
Yeah.
You might need to call somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Not after 4 hours, I don't think. Okay.
Yeah.
Or 6, I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well,
I like to
We've
call
had
it
a
my
lot of fun
Sinister
here today.
Six.
yeah.
Right.
We've had no. Go ahead. You're gonna do a Sinister Six thing.
I like to call it my Sinister Six.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And maybe your Sinister Six. But,
Forget it.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead. I'd like you to finish it.
Normally, I
Forget
understand what the joy you guys get watching me crash and burn a joke. That was a lot of fun. That was.
I didn't know it wasn't over. I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's now over. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, it actually is over this. Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
It's over.
Well, all right. That might be your Sinister Six, but for this Sinister
That
Three,
editor really better put fucking crickets in.
it is actually over. We're done. Stop talking. All you need to know is you need to go to our social media accounts, find us, like us, rate us, review us. Where do I go, Nick? You may ask yourself. Go to our link tree. Go to Google, type in Convincing Idiots link tree, follow the links, tell all your friends, interact with us in any way. It is helpful to the show, and we appreciate your time and your doing so. You can also go to our website, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com for even more of the fun. And that pretty much wraps it up here for this Sinister 3, episode 305. I am Millennial Nick.
I am the Daniel Dean.
You sound like Mike
Next
Tyson when you said that. The Vinny Dean. Little Dusty Rhodes, little Mike Tyson. Have
Daniel
we?
Dean. No, baby, you can't introduce Dusty Rhodes and not give him a little chance to make his presence known, even though it's a Spider-Man episode. I don't care, baby. I'm the sinister one. I'm the lovely one. I am the Dusty Rhodes. By all means.
Would not be complete without a Dusty Rhodes impression. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, episode 305. There you have it. Have we convinced you to come back and join us for another future sinister episode of Convincing Idiots?
Maybe we'll sling our web on you. Who knows? Oh, that's not how you gotta do it. I'm sorry.
Hey there, if you like that video, or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you back here.
Ham gravy.
I didn't mention it because it wasn't really that worth of mentioning, but have you watched the that new was it The Hawk?
You know what? I watched one episode so far on
Okay.
Netflix. It's all right. I mean, I'll give
It's
it
all
I'll
right.
give it more I'll give it more of a chance.
It's we're about halfway through, but it's all right.
It's Happy Gilmore-esque.
Yes.
You know, Will Ferrell's good in a lot of
the
different
Hawk
things.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. If I saw a couple episodes. I think on it. I think walking on a treadmill or something when I watched it a little bit.
I'm slightly intrigued because of him and Molly Shannon. I love Molly Shannon, but
yes, yeah.
like I said, I watched the trailer and I was like, I don't know.
All the other characters are better than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Like,
funny
the
because
son's
the other
good.
characters.
Yeah, that guy's good, and yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's worth a
Just checking out.
Look at it. Yeah. But
Just
and that's what that is. It's a series. It's not. It's if to try to make a movie out of it. I don't know.
No.
So
No.
I don't know.
it's Happy Gilmore meets what was that fucking that he didn't do baseball. No, that was Eastbound and Down. I mean, he was a character in it, but it's very very happy. Honestly, to me at this point, it's kind of like where I started falling off with Adam Sandler movies. All of the characters start to blend together. It's like Will Ferrell characters are now just starting to be the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's all right. They got some funny moments.
It's almost like they said we have a treatment here for Happy Gilmore 3. Now hear me out. He's an older man. He's trying to come back, and they're like, "Nah, I ain't doing all that." And so it sat on somebody's shelf and picked it back up and gave it to Will Ferrell, something like that. That's what it feels like, even down to his caddy and that relationship and everything. It's a whole.
I think the problem. I think my biggest problem is most of these characters, like these wacky, arrogant characters like this. There's underneath all of it, there's some sort of redeeming part to them. I'm halfway through the season, and there has not been one goddamn redeeming part of this character.
Not yet.
He's just a piece of shit.
Yep.
Oh, wee.